A new transitional shelter will be opening up for Muslim women and children in Quebec. It's called Sakeenah Homes, Sakeenah meaning serenity in Arabic. Similar shelters have been running in Ontario, namely in Toronto, Brampton, Ottawa, and most recently in London. Zena Chaudhry is the founder and CEO of Sakeenah Homes. Zena, your organization signed a lease for a shelter in the Montreal area. Your first shelter in Quebec, why the need?
So we've seen a huge growth in demand for services since the pandemic started. We've been working remotely in Montreal with clients for the past 2 years, and last March and April, we kind of saw that huge uptick of calls coming not only from our homes that we already had, but also from the Quebec area, namely in Montreal. And the pandemic had a lot to do with it.
But so, but when you got the calls, what would you, if you didn't have a shelter here in Montreal, where would you send them? How would you help them?
Either we would look for safe shelter for them to be in. If we couldn't find that and it was too late at night and they were facing a lot of trauma at that time, we would actually put them up in hotels or motels for a few nights while our caseworkers would work with them to find that long-term housing solution.
But why have a shelter specifically catered for Muslim women and children? What is the need? What's been lacking here?
So we've seen that gap in services. You know, Muslim women who have gone to shelters have faced racism, Islamophobia, discrimination. They haven't found services that work for them. They don't want to be around drug abuse. They don't want to be around alcohol. There is no way for them to have suhoor or iftar during Ramadan, which is the meal before dawn and the meal after sunset. And they've just found it to be very difficult to actually be with their children in these environments. And that's why they kind of look to us.
And when you talk about discrimination, like what would happen? Like they go into a shelter and how would they feel?
Yeah, so we had actually one woman who had called us in the middle of the night one night, and she was from Montreal, and she had just gone through physical abuse at the hands of her spouse. So she left her home with her two children, had called a shelter in her local area. They had said, yes, we have beds, please come. She got there. She was she was a visible Muslim. She wore hijab and she was Black as well. And so she said when she got there and they looked at her and they said, oh, we don't have space for people like you. So at that moment, she was completely had no idea what to do, no idea where to go. And that's when she kind of quickly looked up on her phone of who she could call, like a Muslim service or organization. That's when she saw our number and gave us a call. And we actually had her stay in a hotel for a few nights until we could figure out a long-term solution for her as well.
So essentially sensitive to the cultural sensitivities, halal food, language and services where they're more comfortable. So you pointed out that it's intensified since the pandemic, domestic violence in Quebec. 10 women have died in this year alone. What have you been seeing?
So we've seen a huge uptick, so a 700% increase of call volume, and that's where we see that abuse has actually gotten a lot worse. People feel like they're in this pressure cooker where, they feel like they can't escape the abuse. They feel like they can't have a break. They're in this place, their apartment or their home with their abuser 24/7, and they don't know how to find that help, and things have gone so out of hand that abuse has gone so much worse where it's led to cases of death as well.
And just very, very quickly, we know domestic violence can be still seen as a taboo in many communities, even in small town Quebec. How are you opening up that conversation?
For us, the biggest thing is education, and we can't educate without talking about the issues. The more we talk about issues, the more people will be comfortable in knowing what services exist, how to help those who are abused, who will come to them, or if they see and witness abuse, how to help them. And I think the biggest thing that we have to understand is by not talking about domestic violence and keeping it as a taboo topic, we only give power to the abusers and we take that away from the survivors. So the more we educate ourselves, the more we educate our communities, we will be able to address these issues head on and actually help those who are being affected by it.
All right. Thank you so much, Sakeenah Chaudhry, the founder and CEO of Sakeenah Homes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.